This is Philip.
This is Derek,
And welcome to
Same but Different. Season 2.
Yes, can you imagine that?
Damn, we've done 10 episodes of Season 1.
Yep, and this is the first episode of our new season.
That's correct. We've covered in our first season everything from who we are, what we think about the gay scene, the F&B scene, what we like to drink, and a hell of a lot more for this season, I guess.
I think most memorable for us was actually doing a vlog while we were in Bintan.
Yes, of course. That's our coming out party.
Yeah, and moving forward, that also means that we'll be doing a lot more vlogging.
That's correct.
As you can see, we are in a place indoor.
That's correct.
Just trying it out to see how well it's going to be received by our listeners and now viewers.
That's correct. We have now our YouTube channel. We also have an IG account.
Yes, all the details will be shared with all of you in our YouTube account, in our IG, as well as in all of the podcasting software that you listen to us from.
That's correct. And with that, let's cheers to Season 2.
Yes, as always, we will still be drinking.
Of course.
Cheers.
Cheers. This is a lovely Australian sparkling that was given to us by a dear, dear friend.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so Season 2, Episode 1.
Yes, what we're going to talk about, Philip.
I think today, let's continue the track of letting people know about us a little bit more. We are going to talk about relationships.
Yes, relationships in its entire life cycle, basically, starting from when you start to date, and then you become a little bit more serious and get into an actual relationship. And it's not just two people dating each other, and then finally marriage.
Yeah, so because we are gay, that also means that the focus on this topic will mainly be on homosexual dating, relationships and marriage.
That's correct. That said though, we just want to get a few things out of the way. So first things first, we are not relationship experts. Our experiences are definitely valid, but that doesn't mean that we give great advice. So don't expect us to be giving you great advice. Just go to your usual channels, and that's where you'll find the right advice and the right kind of people to dish out those advice, really.
Correct. We may have been a few relationships ourselves, but that does not make us relationship experts. It's just us sharing our observations with all of you, and also some of the ideas around gay relationships, dating, as well as gay marriages out there.
That's correct. And of course, as you would probably tell by now, we're going to be talking about romantic relationships, not brotherhood, not kinship and all that. All that will come later on in other episodes, but frankly, it's going to be focused on romantic relationships.
That's correct. So let's kick off this whole discussion with dating.
Yes.
Right. So, Derek, have you dated before?
Okay, Philip, I don't think I have. So I have a current partner, and listeners and viewers, if you have been following us since Season 1, you know that I had a girlfriend. So between these two, I won't say I dated anyone seriously. It was just a lot of casual sex.
Right.
Yes, just a lot of casual sex. That's all.
So for myself, I've had a girlfriend, I've had one boyfriend, and my current partner.
Right.
Yeah, so it's not a lot, I think, for us to share very insightful thoughts into relationships.
That's correct. But I guess that still means that we have certain perspectives and we want to share our opinions about what's available out there and how do gay people meet in the first place, in case anyone's curious.
So, heterosexual or homosexual, I think a lot of the dating that's being done these days are online through dating apps.
That's correct.
Yeah, for the gays, there's the likes of Grindr, Scruff, Jack D, all of those good work done by all of these apps.
Correct. And if you're not just looking for sex, like from Grindr, there's sometimes your Tinders that also, I think, expanded to include same-sex relationships.
Yeah, correct. I should quantify that those apps I mentioned earlier, a lot of it is used for hookups. Those are hookup apps. So there are people who think that those apps are exclusively for hookups. So they would actually just look at it as a place, as a meat market of sorts, right?
That's correct.
So dating could be that. It could be just looking for sex. Dating could also be looking for relationships. I mean, there are people, when they put the requirements for the dating apps. They say that, oh, I'm looking for the one.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Philip. Yes, that's right. And Philip, I think there are also interest groups right now that's happening across different, let's say, hobbies, if you will. So there are gay men volleyball, meetups, book clubs, dragon boat, badminton, whatever, there are actually quite a few ways that gay men can meet other gay men if they are not just looking for sex.
So, Derek, you're saying that you did not go through a lot of dating.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a conscious choice for you not to, or because you just felt that it's not necessary?
Okay. In retrospect, Philip, I did think that it would be great if I dated a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I think dating in Singapore amongst gay people is all rainbows and sunshine and butterflies, right? But I would have loved to gone through a little bit more of that process, of discovering people and things like that. So that could have been fun. That could have been fun.
So, Derek, you don't mind kissing a few more frogs before finding a prince, right?
I'm not sure how I feel about amphibians, honestly. I don't hate them, but Philip, you brought up a good point. The whole idea of kissing frogs, again, it's not all rainbows and sunshine and butterfly, right?
Yep. I myself, I wouldn't say I've gone through a lot of dates as well. Enough for me to find my first ex-boyfriend, through a dating app back then.
Right.
Back then, that was way before Grindr.
Right.
So it was this website called facepic.com.
Ooh.
Yes. So it's the website version of a gay dating app. So that there really isn't much difference.
Okay.
You set up your profile, you write down all your interests, lovely beachside walks, things that you like.
Right.
Yeah, and then you try to find the one.
Right. But I think Facebook.com wasn't the only way that gay men can socialize with the potential of dating. I mean, there were other websites, or if you will, there was Trevi.
Yes.
There was
Friday.com.
That's Friday.com, right? Yeah. So there are all these digital platforms that I guess back in the day when being gay wasn't that pervasive or permissive, if you will, people still can use the digital platform to find other gay men.
Yeah, predominantly that. So dating, relationships, or rather dating, right? So what would you think are some of the key points you need to think about when it comes to dating?
Right. Philip, I think that's a great question. And I think with a lot of dating, whether straight or gay, we always start off with the idea of who am I looking for? What kind of person am I looking for? And there's always the idea of a running list. I want someone who's 1.8 meters and above, independent job, works in finance,
blue eyes,
works in finance, that TikTok thing. Yeah. So I think that list is unavoidable because I think we make the assumption that people know what they want.
By saying that, do you mean that people actually don't know what they want? Or they're not being upfront about it?
I think what I'm trying to say is people think they know what they want.
Okay.
And it's fair. You may have past relationships to draw your experiences from, and some people might know specifically that they're looking for a particular type. Oh, I don't want people who are messy because I have OCD, for example. So I think that's fair. But I think everything else can be fair game. I'm not sure why it needs to be that exclusionary, if you will.
So by saying that, having a clear mind of what you want is half of the equation.
Correct.
But the other side is also being clear of what you can offer in this relationship.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah. So it's also having to know what is your own strength that you can contribute to this relationship.
What you bring to the proverbial table. Philip.
Yeah.
Basically that.
It's almost like a transaction. It's almost like a job interview, a job offer, right?
I think maybe it's fair. What do you think, Philip? What do you think? It's this idea of being really open and say, these are the things I have to offer. These are the things that you bring to the table. What do we think?
Honesty is very important, and it is going to be, I think, probably the running theme throughout this entire conversation about relationships.
That's right.
From dating to going to a proper relationship and also to marriage. I think honesty is very important.
That's true, Philip. I think the idea of being yourself, however you interpret that phrase, being yourself, I think it's fair for all parties involved, right? If you show your genuine, authentic self, people will then know what they're getting themselves into.
Yes.
So that though, even if it doesn't work out, you know that they really are turning down you rather than what they think of you.
Yeah, I've been to quite a few dates before where the person doesn't turn out to be the person that he is. At the very least, physically. So it's quite a unpleasant experience. But I'm being brought up nice enough to at least to complete the date in a sense that okay, this person
manners. You have manners. Well done, you Philip.
Just because he lied doesn't mean that I have the passport, the license to
Two wrongs don't make one right.
Yes, to be a bitch about it, right? So we can still be cordial and have a conversation. At the end of the day, I think dating, a lot of people find it very tiring. A lot of our gay and straight friends think that it is way too much for them to take it these days.
Too much?
Yeah, too much for them, that they're kind of like sworn off dating and they sometimes just go to a matchmaker or something.
Let's go back to your point about the mismatch of expectations, which I guess in the gay circle we eventually have to tackle. Physicality. Do looks matter?
I would say yes to the. I mean, it's not just being superficial or not lah. I mean, at the very least, you should be looking at someone who doesn't turn you off.
Okay.
It could. I mean, people have different standards when it comes to looking good,
physical beauty, if you
want. Yeah, correct. And in our community, there are people who prefer someone who's chubbier, someone who's leaner. So there are different types, if you will, right? So to me, looks is important. It is a deciding factor, and it's kind of like it decided it was the deciding factor when I met my ex-boyfriend and my current partner.
Yeah, I guess that's only fair, and I think anybody who says it's not as important is lying. Lies!
Not so much lying. I would say it's more like they on a scale of different things, right? I've listened to a podcast from a relationship expert that said that a lot of the things that we list as important when it comes to dating, right? Going to relationship doesn't really matter because subconsciously you already have this set of metrics. And typically it doesn't match with what you say. Not 100%. So looks is definitely one of them where sometimes they say it's not important, but subconsciously they do.
So what you're saying is someone might, again, this is the market researcher in me, someone might place a weightage of maybe 80% on physicality subconsciously, but when they present themselves to people, they say, looks doesn't matter, it doesn't matter at all, right?
That's correct. That also links back to the point about what you said, knowing what you want. Sometimes we don't know what we want.
Exactly. This is exactly my point. We think we know what we want, but we don't.
So I think that to me means two things.
Yes.
Firstly, either own up to whatever superficial or non-superficial conditions that you have, and be very vocal about it, or you can be a little bit more carefree about things, meaning that cast a wider net, so-called.
Exactly, right. And I think to that point, Philip, about casting a wider net, I think, again, with a lot of these apps really relying on data science and algorithms to find you your match, maybe you can do it yourself and you become more open to possibilities, because ultimately dating, I think, is a mathematical game.
The point you brought up about how dating apps are using algorithms is something that is happening right now and very quickly as well. So for example, Grindr has already in plan, and they kind of announced it as well, that they are building this AI wingman of sorts, meaning that this person is your wingman, and they will help you decide the kind of persons that will match your requirements.
Okay, so Philip, hold up. What you're saying to me is that in the near future, with Grindr pushing out this particular feature, it will be hey, don't look, my friend is interested in you, the digital version.
Yeah. So if you imagine, you have a profile on Grindr, I have a profile in Grindr, and then we activate this AI. Of course, it's going to be a paid service lah. Okay, sure. And then both our AIs will talk.
Ooh,
in a way,
slightly weird, but okay, sure.
Beyond the various requirements and conditions, right? the AI will start sourcing for people, as would yours.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, correct,
And then
yeah,
we'll find a match. But
Ding, ding, ding.
yeah, but first the AI will still talk to each other.
Correct.
Yeah, so until it'll come to a point where it's, I wouldn't say 100% match lah, but I would
Right.
say maybe about 95%.
Mm.
Once we get that 95%, then yes, both parties will be alerted.
Okay.
Again, I don't know how this works. This is
Correct.
just an idea. So if Grindr you're listening, I don't know.
But that's the thing. Again, we have been throwing numbers and
Mm.
mathematical concepts out there, right? Does it mean that, Philip, we believe that dating and finding love ultimately is a science, not an art?
Yes and no. So the science will help us funnel, if you will,
Right.
to this few people.
Correct.
But beyond that is the fuzzy logic of human
Correct.
beings.
That's basically how charismatic you are when you're dealing with someone that the algorithm has found for you.
Yeah, correct. And then you decide whether this algorithm is correct. And then if it's incorrect, they'll still keep on refining it. That's the beauty of science.
I guess so. There's this idea of human intervention eventually, because you are going to be facing this human being eventually.
Mm-hmm.
So you will have to make the judgment call.
Yes.